Let's get it.
Yo, what up, everybody? This is Localz Only. As you can see, we have a new setup. You know, we had to put pause a little bit to make sure, you know, we bring the vision to life the proper way. You know, we have so many amazing artists and people to have conversations with. So I wanted to make sure that, you know, we do it the right way. And of course, you know, huge shout out to Fuego for hooking us up. Powered by Fuego, you know, really making us look right. If you have any of those, you know, podcast media needs, you'll see him tagged in a lot of our content. Make sure to follow him and hit him up. But we have a guest here. Some of you guys may recognize him, especially if you follow the Great Wanators. We have EFRO, all the way from Mexico.
What up, what up?
So what's up, EFRO? How you feeling?
Dope, bro. Dope to be out here in LA. It's been like 2 years, the last time that I came. And, you know, it's always a big experience just to get here, crossing the border from Mexico to here. And once we're here, you know, you're surrounded by so many people that you just have to absorb it and, you know, take it back home, work with it. But awesome, bro. Just enjoying the time here.
How many years have you been coming here for a dance? Like, because you were originally born in Mexico.
Yeah.
Grew up, lived in Vegas for a little bit.
Yeah. 8 years.
8 years, and then went back to Mexico. But for dance-wise, how many years have you been coming to U.S. or L.A.?
The first time that I came here was 2014. And that was the first year I met you guys also in Mazatlan.
Yeah. That same year you came.
It was in August, I think we met, September, something like that.
Something like that.
I got to know you guys. You and Rox went for a jam out there in Mazatlan, and you know, once we started kicking it, I said, yeah, man, I got to get my visa and go out there to LA. Yeah. And I came in Flavor of the Year in 2014. That was the first time.
Nice.
Yeah, it was a dope experience, man.
Wow, dang. That's 10 years ago.
10 years ago.
That's 10 years ago, bro. That's crazy. Time flies. And it's been amazing for us to how we've connected and how we've built, you know, and our organizations, because you also run a organization called PIES CONSCIENTES.
Yeah.
And that's something that us personally, me and Rock Swift, right away when we met you, it made us want to connect more because, you know, me and Rock Swift have been doing this our whole lives, and we meet a lot of people, and, you know, everyone has something amazing about them. But at the time of our lives that we met you, it was really when we're going hard with what we're doing with the Great Wanators.
Yeah.
And to see that you aligned with that, you know, and morals and vision.
Yeah, man.
It was something that even for us, we were like, man, I hope EFRO keeps connected with us. And now look, you know, it's been 10 years that we've had a pretty close connection with each other.
Yeah, it was a mind-blowing experience for me because I went through two other jams in Mexico, and just in Mexico actually. And you know, sometimes you have a good energy by going, of course, to compete with other people from different cities and different states. But coming out here, the experience was more of a family thing, and you know, you saw kids, you saw, you know, your abuela, your grandma, taking care of people, your mom, you know, so that, you know, that whole experience for me, it was like not only something personal that helped me out to grow. It was just, I felt that I had to do something very similar to Mexico. And that's when we started doing things also out there in Tijuana specifically. But that's another crazy experience because I switched cities just to be closer and to do that, right? So, I mean, that's a different story, but that was like the impact that you guys had in me, and like what you said, you know, the morals and everything, it was perfect.
Yeah.
You know, it was crazy.
Definitely. And I think with you, we'll definitely have another episode more of like your complete story. But what I wanted to touch on with this one is your organization.
Yeah.
And if you could tell us more about that, right? You said like you came, you got inspired, you know, you went back to where, you know, to Mexico, and then you started PIES CONSCIENTES was already.
Yeah, it already existed though, but it was just
the focus.
Yeah, the focus was just battling.
Yeah.
You know, getting
That's
down.
Right. Yep.
And we wanted something that represented the consciousness or the awareness through the
Yeah,
movement.
if you can, for those that don't speak Spanish, tell them
Yeah.
what PIES CONSCIENTES means.
PIES CONSCIENTES means conscious feet.
Yeah.
And you know, we try to promote that awareness, you know, through our movement, through our feet, through our waves, our tutting, whatever we did on popping, right? But most of the people who were part of the group we were poppers. We danced to the popping style. So that was just like very limited at the beginning. We just performed on the streets. We did shows. We trained, of course, and went out to battle. But once I had that experience with you guys, and I felt also that I can connect with other people like you that have a better experience and that I can learn from and take it back to Mexico, because you guys were you also wanted to do something for Mexico, and since you guys are also part of the family and your family is from Mexico, I said let's do it, you know. And what we do is try to promote that, man, like the awareness through the dancing, the discipline, the joy, and we do it through different methods. You know, we have a school also in Guaymas. It's called Guaymas, Sonora. It's close to Arizona, 5 hours away from Arizona and driving. And we have English classes. We also give workshops, keynotes, different things like that. But it all started through dancing. That's crazy, and that gives us the discipline and a beautiful platform to believe in ourselves to do other things, you know.
Yeah, and that's something that for us, we a lot of times, right, because we have different components of our organization as well, that we get asked why dancing, right? Or why this thing or why that thing, right? But specifically dancing, because that's one of our stronger components of the organization. It's because what we say, that's all we knew, right? That's all we knew. Is something that was passed down through generations, specifically for me and Eric. But the way we were taught the dance and the culture was very different than how people are taught it today. And at the time, because of the lack of popularity or the lack of monetary benefit, it was a lot more at a grassroots level, right? Where a lot of events and shows took part in like resource fairs and community events, and those were really the places, because we weren't in the commercial world, those were the places we were performing. We're performing at a festival that's promoting, you know, healthcare and housing and, you know, food resources, and these are the people that we're performing for. And naturally, because my mom and the field of work that she does always had us in that environment as well. So it was something that we knew no different. We thought it was something that was mandatory. Like, it just actually not even a thought, it was just how we participated and used the dance. And being young Chicanos in a marginalized community, if it wasn't for that outlet, we wouldn't have had the care for some of those issues, right? Like, we wouldn't have known to care about that, because we are experiencing those issues and those problems that a community like Pacoima has, right? And the dance is really the vehicle that pushed us forward, and through dance 100%. We started doing these other things, right? And that's what's very important, and that's something that I love telling young people is like, don't, and the parents sometimes, because to get a parent to understand like why dance is important outside of just the entertainment factor and just to, like, you know, have your kid not be bored for a couple minutes, you know, we explain that to them, like, hey, you know what, like, we started with this thing, and now look, we run one of the biggest nonprofits in the world for what we do, one of the fastest growing nonprofits. And if it wasn't for dance, we wouldn't have been able to finish school or, you know, have a cultural center and these different things that, you know, like your organization has been able to do as well. So it's important, and this is why resources to outlets like dance or athletics, or even like you guys have art and stuff like that as well in your place, is important, because you're interacting with, especially with organizations who at a foundational level have that in mind of using these art forms and outlets as vehicles to just positive lifestyles. Our communities, our types of communities, it's important to have access to those types of things, because again, a kid might not like a kid might not want to learn that in school, where they're at school, say in the American school system, they're at school like 8 hours a day, you know, and they say hour 6, they have a class that's teaching them about that. More than likely, they're already kind of tuned out.
Yeah, they're
you know
bored.
what I'm saying? And I was that type of kid. Like a lot of things, I'm the same person in a sense in school that I'm out of school. It's still me, but the version of me as a kid that I was outside of school was way more different and open-minded than when I was in school. Because when I was in school, and when I'm saying school, like I'm talking about your traditional sense of school where you're learning English, math, and things like that. In school, I was tuned out. I was already like, okay, I might not have been able to articulate it, but in my head, I'm just like, oh, I'm going to be interacting with a bunch of people who don't care about me, so I'm not going to care about what they have to say, you know, like that type of stuff. So luckily, I had that mentorship and these outlets like dance outside of school that introduced those principles and those things back into my life, you know?
I would say that I would add something else before the dance, right? Like it's your guys' intention and I don't know. It's kind of difficult to explain, but you guys had an intention because there's other people that dance, but since they probably dance for other reasons, or they're just entertaining themselves, which is fine. We're entertaining others, but what you guys had, or what sometimes other people have, is something behind the dance that forces them to grow as a person, and they find different disciplines, like what you said, right? Like reading, educating yourself, learning about the body, how to hydrate yourself, how to feed yourself. Like there's so many different things around dancing that helps you to grow as a human being, but you have to have that intention, right? And that's where the doors can open to you in different directions. And that's what I felt also in connection with you guys, and bringing back to Mexico, and also coming every time. It's an inspiration, and it's always a growing experience, right? And some people think that they just arrive to a certain destination and that's it, you know, and it's an infinite process, man. Yeah.
And I think to touch on that, and then I have a follow-up, is I think what made it work so well for you, and now talking right now with you, I thought about this, is a lot of people come and think, and this happens in dance, what could it do for me?
Yeah.
Right? And when you're thinking of what it could do for you, a lot of times you end up disappointed. When you came and when we met, you were right away, what could I do for it? Right? What could I do for the culture? What could I do to even help you guys with your mission and things like that? And when that happens, in that process of helping and that type of participation, you end up getting a lot more gems, a lot more knowledge, because the interaction and how I'm speaking to you and how I'm going to show you something is a lot different, because I'm showing you in a sense of, okay, oh, he wants to help, so okay, this is what you do here, this is what you do there, versus like, oh, what could you give me? And then that's such a general question that someone like myself or Rock Swift were like, well, I don't know what I could give you. I don't know. What do you want? Like, and it's more of a superficial thing, right? And that's something that I think you did right away. That even if it wasn't intentional, you know, it was, I think, what helped for our interaction and our connection, but also for what you got going on back home, because you are able to come and look at things at a different lens and get a more of behind the scenes of how to actually do something like what we do with the Great One-Eighters.
Yeah, man. And then the other quote that comes up to my mind is, the way you do anything is the way you do everything. So like if you're acting towards dancing in that way, most likely outside of dancing, that's the way you act, right? Like when you approach dancing with respect and you see it as a person, what can you do for it? Like what you said, right? What can you do for for it to grow? What can you do for the community of hip hop to grow? And I saw that in you guys as well, and you still have that to this day. It's not about yourselves. Of course, as we said, right, we're growing in the process, but it's almost like if you see popping, or if you see the culture as a person, you always want to like help out for that person to grow, right? It's not about you. You are in service. And another quote that comes up to my mind is, God is only in two two places, in silence and in attention.
Yeah.
So when you're paying attention, what does popping need? What does the person need or the culture need? You're always going to help out because you're providing from a place of abundance. You know,
Yeah.
you have resources, you have different things to give. You know, because we were lucky to be in a fortunate position. You know, we didn't ask to be born in a certain home where a mom and a dad with a good economy. So, but other people haven't had that. So, you got to see all of those things. You got to pay attention to all of those things, and then, you know, just be in service.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's a good point, and that's something that when people do talk about what we've done or how we've impacted them or who's inspiration, we have many, but one thing we always say, like, we hit the parent lottery. Me and Rock Swift,
For sure.
we say we hit the
luck,
parent lottery,
yeah.
and when people hear that, it's not money that we're talking about. You know, we're talking about the love, the care, the attention, everything that they put into us. Because, you know, me and Rock Swift, we lost our dad at 15.
Yeah.
And my mom at 29, 30 years old became a single parent of 4, you know? And we went from being in the hood, the family that was different because we had a dad in the home and we ate dinner together in the family, which is not, for the common person, that might be like, that's normal. In the barrio, in the hood, that's not normal. You know, even if you do have both parents, they're working so much that that's not something that's common, right? We were lucky that my parents did those types of things, or fortunate that they did those types of things. And on top of that, supported us through what they saw we were interested in.
Yeah.
And so it so happened to be that our parents also were people who participated in hip hop, participated in street dance, which those weren't the names, you know, like hip hop culture was hip hop culture, but there was still the way they phrased it, the vocabulary was a little bit different.
It was different.
But that is something that, like, is very important that I always mention, like, you know, that is the base right there, is that like when they were very intentional once they saw that was what we wanted to do, and they didn't allow us to treat it like a hobby. They were like, oh, you want to do that? You're going to treat it like anything, like you do school, like you do sports, whatever it is. You're going to practice, you're going to learn, and something
show respect.
Show respect. And it's something that I give parents advice on, is whether it's with, you know, wrestling or dance, whatever, right? They're like, how do I, like, there's a certain age where the kid stops being interested, you know? And because burnout is real, no matter what. When you start very young, is that my dad was very clever with how he had us participate, especially when we started getting more serious. Then he went from, like, him kind of being the one to, like, not make us do it, but, like, push us to do it, to then overnight it was like, no, you guys have to earn that. Did you guys do your chores? Did you guys do your homework? Oh, you guys want to practice today? You guys have to, you know, we had to earn it. So then once we were able to just do something like practice, we were so grateful and, like, felt so lucky, like, oh man, this is the goal. It wasn't like just the jam, right? Or just
He
like
made you guys work for it.
Yeah, it wasn't like, oh, and then he never folded on his word. Like, if he told us that's what we had to do, we knew that's what we had to do to get it, because if we didn't, he will say no and he won't let us, you know. But to touch on something that about your organization and what you got going on in Mexico, is your organization is also family, ran by the family. So if you could explain that, who else is involved in PIES CONSCIENTES today? Because again, we'll do another one where we talk about more of in your popping history, dance history, that. But today's more focused on the org today, you know. So who runs the organization? Who's a part of the organization today?
Yeah, right now with PIES CONSCIENTES is really similar, very similar to the Great Guaneros. Is not a crew anymore. It's like it's a team, it's a group, an organization of people who are who wants to continue to promote that consciousness. And I have, you know, my girl involved, I have my brother involved, I have, you know, my mom and my dad, you know, even though they don't appear in front of the camera, but they're always behind me, you know, my sisters, you know, I have other people, you know, like Estilo, who's my brother as well, that we're trying to promote the awareness in different ways. And now in social media, like what we try to do, because we had a really good impact on Latin America through what we put out there on social media, is, you know, bring the best of the best things and knowledge that is out there is in English, right? So, and a lot of people in Latin
I remember
America.
when we had that conversation. Do you remember
Yeah.
when we had that conversation about the content and stuff?
That, you know, there's a lot of people that don't speak English, you know, and even today Instagram can add subtitles and
Yeah.
everything, but you know, we have been doing this for more than 5 years, and specifically in social media, and it has had a good impact as well, you know, putting all the information out there for all the Spanish speakers, and that's just one aspect. The dancing part is another one, and you know, the school is another thing. You know, we do a lot of things that is not even in cameras, like helping out people that are in shelters, you know, kids, orphan houses, all of that. We try to do that because it just shows us how lucky we are, and you know, like you said, you know, dancing is just one area that we focus on, and it's just an excuse to be better human beings and show other people to be better human beings. Yeah, but my whole family is involved, man, and I couldn't be here without them and without even you guys. You guys are my family as well. Your mom is always behind everything, man. Like, shit.
Like today, I said that's our agent, the puppet master, the you know, the boss. Like
Small things and big things, man. Like, and it adds up. You know, like just the food. You know, so many things, man. Like, it's even difficult to explain, and just people have to live it, you know, to really understand how this works. You know, they see the big jam or the big followers, whatever it is, but man, it's all about the family, man. That's what's in the core of everything.
And see, and this is another point, right? The family, right? Someone could be watching this and be like, well, what if I don't have family? You know, which when we say this, you would think it's just immediate family that we're talking about.
Blood family.
Blood family, you know, and there is a big portion, but we are so intentional about who we bring in and how we interact that if you are a part of our inner circle, you are family, and we treat no different. I remember before I became a father, people would always tell me, because you know, I it's not a role that I chose. It's something that just came upon me and something that I accepted. I'm like a big brother, a father figure to a lot of people, and you know, especially young kids, right? And where I'm from, and people would be like, "Oh, you're gonna have kids," and for a long time I didn't want to have kids, you know, and that's a whole different personal thing. And then they'll be like, and I'll be like, no, these are my kids. You know, these are like, you know, I have hundreds of kids.
Yeah.
You know, and they're like, oh, but it's different. They're like, it's different. It's different when you have your own. And I understand what they mean.
Yeah, of course.
You know, but back to intention, and I would always stop them and tell them like, that's, you're projecting. For you, it's different. This kid I'm interacting with, the same way. And now that I'm a father, I know it to be true. Because before it could be like, well, yeah, you don't know.
You don't know.
Yeah, and now that I'm a father, I feel the same way. I feel the same way. If my kid was starving, my daughter was starving, and a kid that I was teaching was starving, whatever I had, I would split and give it to both.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that my kid deserves more than this kid, you know? And that's what I was afraid of when I was younger, because I was like, man, am I going to be the type of person that has kids, and because I'm so dedicated to the mission, so dedicated to what I'm doing, I'm going to neglect mine because I feel that they're in a good position because they have me, and these kids who don't have someone like me need me more. You know, that happens to a lot of people, coaches, and, you know, teachers, and things like, you see that a lot, where their kids almost have resentment for what their parents do because their parents are always helping, you know? So balance is important, right? But back to the family work, and for people out there, for advice is, you don't need 100 people. You know, it's in the quality.
Quality,
you know?
man.
And families is where your heart is. You know, and really doing something with your heart, understanding that if you are being genuine and doing it with your heart, regardless of the outcome, you're always going to be happy because you're doing it out of pureness.
Pureness,
right?
man.
And you know, so don't think like when you hear this that we're just speaking of immediate family.
No.
We are fortunate to have our blood family involved, but we have a lot more people. Like Pierre, for example. I see Pierre, a founder of the Great One-Eighters and co-director of the Great One-Eighters. You know, he's not my blood family, but I see him no different than Rock Swift, who is my brother, you know, my blood brother. Pierre's my brother too, you know, and everyone thinks that too, you know. And I don't correct them, so, oh, he's not my brother, and try to do all that. It's like, yeah, that's my brother, you know. And whatever, if something bad happened, God forbid, to any of them, the pain isn't any less. Something good happens to any of them, my joy isn't any more for one over the other. You know what I mean? So I wanted to say that so people understand that it doesn't have to be your blood family. It's people who think alike, people who you have things in common with, people you spend time with. That's when you start developing that, and that's usually when that word family it translates to trust. And you know, you have to have people you trust around you to really accomplish the type of things that we're trying to accomplish, right?
Yeah, man. Like, and you know, right now I just had a small interview with Popping C and MT Pop, and you know, people that are great. You always ask them for advice, and one of the things they say is that, bro, like, just be honest, act from a pureness, and do it with your heart. And you know, that's the problem, because you know, us being very honest and sometimes trying to be pure, we give the opportunity for everybody to deserve that place in our heart or in our circle. But you know, not everybody, unfortunately, earns that or gets that opportunity. But you have to give the opportunity for everybody to be part of your family. And once they deserve that and they honor that, you can be part of the family, right? Like, you're just quality people around us that can help the mission grow, or help being other people better humans, or yourself being better, because that's what it's all about, man. Like, helping each other to be better. But you gotta sometimes earn that spot, you know. It's difficult.
You're right, and I think I feel very similar in that sense, and when it comes to certain aspects, right? Something that I also feel, though, is I think a lot of people have, because of how society is and just how it's human nature for people to be deceiving and, you know, sometimes not the best. People grow callous and they get very, you know, they don't trust people and all that. And I understand, and there was a point in my life where I was more of that than what I am today. And what I've been today and for many years is I don't look at human beings like these are untrustworthy people. I look at people and I look at them as for what they are, and I understand that they're capable of that, which allows me not to be naive and taken advantage of. But I almost have, for me not to trust you, I do it the reverse. It's not like it's for example, it's the way I guess I'm trying to phrase it is, you have to earn for me not to trust you. Like, I don't automatically go into something and be like, oh, I'm not gonna give this person no chance, or you know, because, you know, people suck, and, you know, like, they're liars and cheats, and it's like, no, I'm gonna trust you. I'm like, why? Like, sometimes people are like, why do you trust someone? Why wouldn't I? He hasn't gave me a reason. And then best believe, though, when you do cross that line or do something, I'm going to believe you for who you show me you are, not who you tell me you are. And that's what's also helped these types of connections, right? Like, and because I have many brothers like you know, that I've been able to, in the grand scope of how many people I've interacted with, it's a little bit, but I look at it also like, damn, I'm also fortunate because I do have these types of connections with people, but it's because I approached it in that way. And I think we're very similar in the sense that sometimes we're misunderstood because of how serious we are. Not that we don't like to joke around and have fun, because we do, you know. But it's that, like, I take people more serious than they take themselves sometimes, and sometimes that comes off as angry, or, you know, it's hard for people to read me, and you know, it's back to that trusting. It's like, no, because I believe you. I believe in you, and I trust you. So I'm not gonna take you as a joke, and I'm not gonna, you know, belittle. Like, sometimes people, like, they'll talk about their dreams or what they want to do, and be, just play. And I'm like, no, you're not playing. And then they're like, what what the fuck, like, oh damn, that got serious. And it's like,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
because I take you serious, and, and this is how I talk to my family, this is how I talk to people around me. And then if you start doing things to get for me not to be that way, that's where it's like you almost have to earn for me not to trust you, or not to
Yeah.
to want that, not to want that for you. But back to, like, a lot of people make you earn that side of them. For me, I'm like that with everybody,
Yeah.
until you show me that I shouldn't be like that with you. Because time is something that we can't buy. Time is something that you
Yeah,
never
man.
get back. So I make sure that I use my time wisely.
Yeah.
And this version of me, you have access to until you do something to not have access to that.
Yeah, that's another thing that I've observed through also what we're doing out there in Mexico is that the people who is around us, it could be a small group, but it's quality people, and that helps movements or ideas to grow easier.
Yeah.
But when you have, we've been working also with big companies. When you see big companies that have thousands of people, the mission sometimes gets lost. You
You
can
can
get a
slow
lot of,
down the process.
you can get a lot of profit probably, but
Yeah.
something is lost along the way, because from having so many different bosses or managers or coordinators, communicating something so simple, it's not done sometimes, right? So right now, what we really believe is, something that grows fast without any purpose, you can call that a cancer,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That's the only
Very
thing
true.
that grows without any purpose and just for the sake of growing, right?
Yeah.
We don't want to grow like that. We really want to keep it small, and allow the whatever it is, to grow naturally and organically, and have the people around that is quality and that helps that be just better.
Yeah.
And we're not thinking about numbers, we're not thinking about followers, we're not thinking all of that. It's just, does it help us, and is it in service for other people? And
Yeah.
I think what you guys are doing out here, everybody that comes here, bro, no matter if it's from France or other places, they smell that, they detect that, from you guys, that the quality of events that you guys are throwing, right? So I think that's another big aspect too, because even though you guys are big or everything, like the people who's around you, I see that it's just quality people,
Yeah.
pretty similar to what we try to do out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for PIES Conscientes, what do you want for PIES Conscientes in the next 5 years? What do you want for PIES Conscientes? And I know that's a deep question,
Yeah.
and a question that takes some thought, but that's something that for us, as we've grown and we're starting to get bigger opportunities, there's very important people we're interacting with, and people that mentor us who really pay close attention to the answer of that, because they've been in our shoes in whatever they are doing, in whatever way they're doing it. It might not be the same exact purpose and thing, but a lot of things that succeed, there's a moment where you're gonna have to genuinely look at that and be like, what do I want?
Yeah.
Because you haven't been doing it. It hasn't been 1 year, 2 years.
Yeah.
You guys have been doing it for over a
Over a
decade
decade,
now.
yeah.
So what do you want? Not where you see yourself, but what do you want for PIES Conscientes the next 5 years?
There's a couple of things. Of course, what we're doing right now, kind of like having a bigger and better impact on people who need. Continue to use the platform of dancing to inspire other people, because where I live right now, there's not that many people that dance. I would like for that culture to start a little bit in that place, because it's my hometown, it's my home. So that's something that I love. I love that place. My family's there. So probably giving that city a gift like that, trying to promote the culture there, that will be awesome. When the pandemic started, we stopped doing the flavor of the month also in Tijuana and in Mexico. So I think I would really love to have that back out there, because we need it. There's a few jams that are genuine sometimes in all around the world, but in Mexico as well. Especially in north side, right, like in Tijuana and Sonora, the state that I am from. So that's another thing. And also our school, having a place where people can be there and they can feel accepted, and they can learn different things. Again, you know, just we teach English, we teach other things, but you know, just how many people out there need to learn English, so when they go to a place like to learn popping or to compete, they need to connect with the judge, or they need to connect with other people, but they don't have the language. Like, they lose so many opportunities, man. Like, and even if somebody like me is translating to them, still something is lost.
Yeah, they're always.
So
they call it like lost in translation.
Yeah, man. There's details. They're losing the experience. So all of those things is something that, you know, it looks like it's a lot, but it's all coming back to the same thing. You know. Yeah, man. And just being a better person. You know. Continue to cultivate with you guys and with my family, grow. Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. That's awesome. And I do see that. I do see that happening, and that's the trajectory that you guys are headed in. You know, and I guess lastly, man, something else that happened this trip, you officially in Zulu Kingz.
Yeah, man. It's an honor.
In Zulu Kingz, you know.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Were you expecting that?
I wasn't. You know, I always have the mentality of being ready. I mean, it could always happen, but no, I wasn't expecting it for this time, especially because I did my prelim round. I was a little bit bummed out, so I was just cruising around the ciphers and getting down.
Yeah.
But no, I wasn't expecting it, man. I wasn't expecting it. But yeah, it's an honor. It was crazy because I have more than. This is also another thing that people is hard to understand, right? Like, I had more like 4 years being a prospect.
Yeah.
Never asking for nothing, just being who I am. And you know, a lot of people have asked you and me, like, hey, how can I get in? Like, man, you never ask. That's the first thing. You never ask, bro. It's just,
once you ask that question,
it gets corny, man.
We could almost guarantee it's not. You're never gonna be down.
Yeah, something's wrong there. So yeah, man, and the fact that I can connect very naturally with Flex, Frantic, all the family there, it felt like natural. Same thing when I was, you know, part of the Great One-Eighters. It's the same thing. It feels natural. We already were family before, so it's just like one extra step that I feel. It feels an honor also to be part of it, of course, man. Like, because it's not just you guys and popping. It's a legacy, bro, of hip hop. That's something that I've always envisioned before even knowing you guys. It's something that I had in my mind, and other people can back that up. You know that back in Mexico, I always envisioned that. To be part of it, it's an honor.
Oh yeah, man.
Well,
welcome.
Thanks.
Much love, brother. Thank you so much for joining me. And yeah, Localz only, baby. Follow PIES CONSCIENTES, follow EFRO, and we're definitely going to do this again.
Yes, sir. Thank you, bro.
Oh yeah. Peace.
Peace.